Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing an important video today. I have not had the time. I've been quite busy. After finishing my book, um, I've been catching up on a lot of different things and my family end of the year stuff. So I've been quite busy. I haven't had time to post in a while. I am making time to post something today because it is extremely important. Every once in a while, I put out a really important message, and I think that today is one of those days where an important message needs to be relayed. And so I want to pause and I want to encourage those of you listening to this today, or whenever you listen to listen to this with an open mind and an open heart. And if it doesn't resonate with you, simply turn it off. But if it does, I really strongly encourage you to sit with the message and take some time to evaluate the things that I am saying and relate it to your current life, your current situation with regard to what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be very careful how I use my words, and I'm going to be very careful how I say some things because um, I still want to come off with some level of dignity and some grace here, while also emphasizing the significance and importance of what it is that I want to say. I want to talk about or kind of give you my interpretation on the overall vibe, let's just say, of what's happening right now, politically, collectively, within pockets of communities, within interpersonal relationships and interactions, kind of overall as a whole. Things are getting a little bit messy. And we are in a spiritual battle of will, because our souls our souls carry a lot of weight, and they are of value to beings and aspects of this reality and outside of this reality control elements of the lower densities of this reality, but no longer control the higher aspects, which I can explain more. There is in essence, a tug of war going on, and I'm strongly encouraging people right now to be careful who you are allowing in your circle, who you are interacting with, and most importantly, who you are trusting. This is probably one of the most important things I've said this year. And I feel like I have to remind myself included, and my friends and family, and those that follow the things that I talk about in my work, you know, whenever I feel like it surfaces to like a level in which I'm like, okay, we need to pay attention to this. I've been observing a lot. I'm a big observer. Again, I always like to look at things from the macro perspective. I'm a big macro observer, bird's eye view. That's who I really have become. And I really stand by that. And I really try to do that every day within the construct of my own life and my own reality, and what's intimate in my life and relevant, and what is intimate and relevant to the type of work that I do and the clients that I work with when I'm trying to guide and mentor the clients that I work with, and playing any role whatsoever in the community of the collective consciousness on many facets. And I feel like it is my duty to truly tune in and pay attention. I do have this divine mother energy, and so I am quite protective over the ones that I love and the ones that I feel connected to. Um, That being said, as a mother, and those of you out there that are a mother, you know the games, you know the BS, you see and feel and know everything that's going on around you, even if you don't always say it. Because sometimes you got to watch your children make the mistakes, or let them fall so that you can be there for them. So I've been observing a lot. A lot of people, and I'm not going to name any names today. That will not happen. So if you're waiting for me to say anybody's name, you can tune out now, because that's not how I work. I never do that. I never talk about anybody. And this really isn't towards anybody in particular or any people in particular. I am just observing things and I'm going to use examples of what I have observed. And I want to funnel that as a warning or a message today to the viewers that are going to watch this to sit back, pay attention, reevaluate who you are listening to, who you are trusting with your heart, with your, like, with the full essence of your soul and not just ego or the human brain or with clouded judgment of the demeanor that some people put off, which is really just meant to confuse people. Oh, they're too nice. They're too this, they're too that, to heart to do anything bad. You know, a lot of people put off a facade to trick people into trusting them. I'm being very careful how I talk today, so I apologize, but not really, because I'm being careful in my words for a reason. Because so many people are waking up and so many people are activating, we are leveling up. So the good thing that's happening right now that I'm seeing every day is that people are waking up. And what that means is that they're starting to see beyond the illusion. They're starting to activate from a cellular as well as an energetic blueprint level. Your intuition is heightened. You're tuning in and you're trusting your knowing and your inner wisdom and your inner guidance. And with that brings the capacity to truly see through the illusion. When you see through the illusion, everything around you starts to look different and feel different. And your little alarm in your body, the sensors that are meant to help us, are going off in different ways. Because what we used to trust, their alarms are going off now. And we're saying, wait a second, I used to trust that. That used to work for me, and it's no longer working for me anymore. And why am I having anxiety about that? So remember, a lot of what I wrote about in my last book, Courage to Change, the freedom movement is anxiety. I called anxiety a 3D virus. What does that mean? It means that anxiety is not a bad thing. It's really it's something in your body, in your knowing, in your spirit that's letting you know, hey, something is off. Things aren't exactly how they're supposed to be. So pay attention. And then your body gets anxious and you can't sleep. You don't feel right. All the symptoms of anxiety are different for everybody, but there are a lot of similarities. And really it's just you feel off. Something's not right. Instead of medicating yourself and numbing to it, it's really it's a warning symbol. It's a warning siren that's going off. Alert, alert, alert. Pay attention. Something's wrong. Something's not right. Maybe the job that you're in, maybe the people you're trusting, maybe your family members, maybe a lot of all of the above, maybe other things. There's something in your environment, in your reality that your soul is like, pay attention. You're having anxiety because I don't want you to become complacent. I don't want you to inadvertently consent. I want you to think about this really, really clearly before you make a choice or keep moving down this one particular path. So anxiety is not a bad thing. It's just it's a way for your body to give you warning, you know? It's to encourage discernment, to look at things from a clear view, clear path. Um, and this war is about, it's a war on consciousness. They want to control and limit our capacity to trust our intuition, because when you see through the illusions, you cannot be controlled anymore. You think for yourself. Your imagination excels and you are very creative and you are able to tune into your spiritual gifts and co-create the world that you want, and you're less likely to be programmed and fall for things like MK Ultra and all the 3D interference that I talk about, even to the specifics of toxins in food and in the air and the environment. Those things don't work on us as well when we are in a higher frequency. That's why we always say, raise your frequency. Well, how do I raise my frequency? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but it really starts with going within and not trusting everything you see and really just taking a moment to just sit and observe. Just be the observer. Visualize yourself as an eagle at the top of the highest tree, overlooking everything. And don't say a word and just observe. Observe the behavior, the words being spoken, the interaction of everybody around you. And you'll start to notice things that are off that when you were down below with all those people, in the thick of it, in the trenches, you didn't notice because there are emotions involved. You're too close to it. So when you pull yourself back and you observe from a different perspective, your perception changes, which is a good thing. And you're more neutral. You're not emotionally invested. And right now, some of the things that the dark players that I call are doing to disconnect us or to, because they know that a lot of people are activating. I don't know if you guys remember or how many of you guys have been listening to me for how long, but I used the example probably 3, 4 years ago of a light bright. I don't know if you guys, in the 80s or when I was a kid, anyways, we had these black box thingies and they all had lights and you can turn the lights on and create pictures and things like that. It's called a light bright. They had all white ones and then they had those with different colors, lights, depending on which one you had. So the way I was gauging the activation of the collective consciousness is by, I was seeing in my visions and meditations many, many years ago, um, a all dark screen and then little pockets of lights all over, spread out, not together in clusters, but spread out. And that's where we get that when we talk about starseeds being spread out and we yearn to have connection with other people that are like us, we really are strategically spreading ourselves around the board so that we can help guide and activate those around us as best we can. Well, where we are right now, and as I tune into it, it does fluctuate, but I will say that greater than 50% of the board has been lit up for quite some time, at least 2024 and into 2025. And now we're starting to have clusters where people are finding each other, people are finding their tribe, even if they don't live in the same city, they're connecting through Zoom and phone and text, and the energy is not gravitating the energy together. So there are clusters all over the place. And the dark side doesn't want that because they want us to be separated because it's much easier to infiltrate the specks of light through temptation and various things when we're separated. But when you come together, it's a lot harder to do that. But one of the things that is being done right now to separate us or to confuse us is a variety of massive trickery. Implants in the communities of, we call it New Age community, but really it's ancient knowledge is what's happening. So we're activating ancient knowledge. They're calling it New Age, but it's nothing new about it. And there are implanting people into the communities or pockets of clusters of communities to infiltrate that cluster so that we can hopefully, or in their mind, dim some of the lights down. So instead of there being, hundreds, thousands of this cluster, it'll start to dwindle and little lights will start to pop off because they are no longer connected because there's an infiltration occurring. And there's usually one or two centerpieces within those clusters that are the plants. How do people get to be plants? Well, the main things that I talk about are ego. And ego is going to feed off of your desire to be popular, to be well known, to validate you in some way, and in a unhealed aspect of yourself. If there's an aspect of yourself that's unhealed, who is in search of validation through others, meaning you can't accept the validation for yourself. Your self-success is not enough for you to feel good about yourself. You have to search outside of yourself to receive validation for who you are, what your accomplishments are, what you're capable of doing. And when you seek outside of yourself for validation, then you are much more vulnerable and susceptible to being infiltrated because you will amplify that success the more people that follow you, the more people that are buying into what you're selling. And it builds you up, builds you up, builds you up, and the ego gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is one of the biggest differences between true, again, I'm being careful with my words, but true in service to others versus in service to self people. It's very obvious the ones that are in service to this themselves because they're feeding into their ego. They like the following. They like a drug, they have to keep doing things in order to get more or to keep that following going, keeping the videos going, keeping the this, keeping the that, feeding the ego. And so that's how they get to a lot of people is through the unhealed aspect of themselves, that little inner child that is desperate for attention from their parents that they probably didn't get, and past lives of abandonment and many issues. Nothing wrong with any of these people. The sad thing is that the dark side preys upon those people, knowing that they are vulnerable, knowing that they are weak, knowing that they can pull on the ego to give them a false sense of validation and healing, because then they feel like, oh, I'm healed now, I can help others, look at all that I've done and I've accomplished. That's a big red flag. So they build on the ego, they prey on the ego. Another aspect of it is money, and this is a hard one. The 3D is built on the money system, we know that. And most starseeds don't feel comfortable with money. It's I've had an issue with money my whole life. Not that I can't manage money. It's more about feeling validated by how much money you have and how much success you have and your family's worth and all of these things. And then on top of that, trying to go down a path of spirituality and guiding and helping others and then charging for it. Okay. It's something I've struggled with for a very long time. And I still struggle with it to this day because it doesn't feel right to charge. Doesn't feel right to monopolize on the healing of other people. But at the same time, you have to play the game a little bit sometimes to survive, because if I want to do this work, and I don't want to go back to my 9 to 5 government job, which by the way, I was being paid very well in the government, working at the Smithsonian National Zoo. But I was dying inside because I was getting money and I was supporting my family, but I felt like empty inside. And I said, this is not an appropriate energetic exchange. Now I feel very fulfilled in everything that I'm doing and how many people I'm able to help. Um, but there's not a lot of money involved in it. You barely make ends meet, and that's how they get to you, is they want you to feel uncomfortable. They want you to need more so that they can tempt you with, oh, I'll get you more money. I'll get you whatever you want. And for those that don't really care about that, meaning we do care, we need it, obviously, but we're not going to lessen who we are to take that. We're not going to sell ourselves short and say, I'll take the money. Because all it takes is one little dangling carrot that you pull from, and then there's another carrot, and then there's another carrot. Next thing you know, you're so far beyond who you once were that you've lost yourself. And I'm seeing that in the spiritual community, almost on a daily basis. And it's disheartening and heartbreaking to me to see how many people have fallen. How many people I know that have taken the bait and who have fallen and lost themselves. Yeah. I'm not going to give names, and it's not even relevant. It doesn't even matter who their names are. It's not for me to tell anybody, because I had to learn the lessons myself. And there are some that took me longer to realize than others. And I'm like, oh, shit. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you start to connect the dots of everything that's happened that you ignored, all the red flags that surface. And you're like, well, and you make excuses for these people, this person, whatever. And I'm not just talking about people in the public. This could be your neighbor. This could be your brother. This could be your sister. This could be your spouse. This could be anybody. It doesn't have, I'm not talking about one person, because I'm seeing it with people I know that I wouldn't say friends with, but acquaintances with, or people I went to high school with that have resurfaced, and I'm learning things. It doesn't even matter. This is this is my that's my experience, but your experience can be different. So I'm not just talking about people in the public eye. I'm talking about people everywhere, people you work with, people you thought were friends, people you've been friends with for 10, 15 years, your whole life. It's boggling my mind to see the washing machine of energy that we are in. But they get to you through the ego and through money and power. And if you are tempted by those things, then it's more likely to work on you. That dangling carrot is much easier. You're an easier target. So I'm seeing them work through, there's a lot of egos at play right now. There's massive trickery going on, a lot of money games and temptation. Um, Another thing they do is they will exhaust you and drain you, send energy and psychic attacks your way to so that you just get weak and you give up and you're like, oh, I can't fight it anymore because it feels like you're constantly going up against the stream. Um, there's timeline wars going on with people's consciousness, and there's just so many different things occurring at the same time, and there's too much to explain right now. The purpose of what I am doing right now is I just want to once again have this conversation for those that are willing to listen, to just really be careful right now and who you trust. Feel it with your heart. And even if these are people or it's a person that you previously trusted, even up to a few days ago, always pay attention. Things can change on a dime. And 1 minute they are the most kind, considerate person you've ever met. And if you fully trust them unconditionally, you're more likely to get fooled. And the stronger you are, the harder it is for the dark side to infiltrate you. So what they do and what they will do is they will try to get to you through other people. They'll find the weakness in them and they will target them. And then suddenly the people in your life are turning on you, acting weird, shutting you out. Does not mean they're bad. Does not mean they were evil the whole time. What it means is, oh no, they got to that person. And you just need to evaluate yourself and your situation and your connection to them moving forward. It doesn't mean that you need to divorce them or kick them out of your life. It just means you're like, okay, hold on a second. I need some space to see how I feel about this. And is it healthy for me right now to be around this person? Is it healthy for me to listen to this person? I know this sounds exhausting, and this is honestly coming from a place of faith because I believe things are beautiful and I think things are rolling out exactly, maybe not in the timing that I would like, but I believe it has to happen this way. So things are actually really good, and I'm very happy about the progression we're making. But I'm seeing so much destruction around me and people falling that we can't become complacent, and we have to be realistic. That's just what it is. Not everything in the spiritual community and reality is rainbows and butterflies. I mean, it's like daily work. It's daily work. It's every day. You brush your teeth and shower every day. At least most of you probably do. You eat. You have to eat to survive. You have to drink water. So just like all of those necessities of life, we have to consider energetically what we are eating, what we are allowing in our life, who we are being intimate with sexually, but also emotionally intimate with, and everything in between. Who are you allowing around your children? Taking a pulse on your animals and their health, because they are holding the space for us right now in a massive way. And there is a lot of deaths, animal deaths right now, and it just goes to show you there are a lot of animals choosing to take on a lot of the brunt of our healing for us, and they are exiting in a massive way. And I'm seeing animals cross over more than I've ever seen before. And I a lot of people are looking at it as a really bad, horrible thing and tragedy. And yes, of course it is, because to us in this human perspective, we're losing our companions, our loved ones. But in a bird's eye view perspective, what's actually happening is it's beautiful. It means there's progression occurring and they are helping us more quickly and transmuting a lot, but their little bodies can't hold on and take on as much as they would want to. So their bodies um, are holding the space and transmuting as much as they can. And then when it gets to a point where the body can't hold it anymore, the body passes, but the soul is gone. It leaves the vessel of the dog or cat or whatever animal that companion was in, and then they're able to help us more energetically as a soul, as a guide of ours. And then if they pop back in another animal, they could continue to do it. So they don't look at it as they're dying. They look at it as, oh, okay, whew, look at all that I was able to help my family member with. And we dodged a bullet there. Okay, I took care of that cancer for you. I took care of this lesson for you. I took care of holding the space for you. Now I'm transitioning out and then I'm going to come back and do something else. So it's like all hands on deck. A lot of people are working. Why is there so much suicide right now? I have many clients who are either going through suicidal thoughts and or those that have lost a loved one to suicide. Even children are suicidal. Why are so many people suicidal? Because again, this is another tactic of the dark side to get control and stop the ascension process, the activation. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to control it. All of their efforts are failing. They thought they had a hold on us in many different ways. And when that didn't work, they tried something else. And when that didn't work, they tried something else. And now we're on to the new Earth Starseed children, and they can't even categorize them and label them anymore and medicate them because the parents are figuring it out and they're like, oh no, not my child. So now we've got an abundance of beautiful activated star seeds that are helping us adults heal and activate and hold space here and anchor in a higher frequency. So basically we are at a point of no return in the sense of this golden age, golden era ascension that's occurring. But that's not going to stop them from trying to do whatever they can to mess it up. There's just massive trickery and suicidal thoughts and tendencies are one of those things because they can from voice to skull technology, voice to God technology, whatever you want to call it. There are frequencies and energy beams that can be activated and sent through. And if you are at a frequency that is tuned in, or at least close enough that there's a spectrum there and this radio waves are coming and you match it to some degree, it's going to hook into your conscious mind, into that, reptilian human brain, and it's going to filter through and you're going to think it's your own thoughts and you're going to be like, why am I suicidal? Why am I so doom and gloom? Why do I have such negative thought right now? And if you don't catch on and you think it's yours, it could be quite destructive. And some people will go crazy because as a result of it, because they don't know how to stop it. And then they use altering substances to either numb themselves or try to tune it out. And then it ends up amplifying, getting worse. And then they end up successfully taking their life. It's happening a lot. Mental illness. What's really happening with mental illness right now? What's really happening with dementia and Alzheimer's and all of these other things? And with schizophrenia. Again, from a macro perspective, I'm not going to go through each one and how it works and the neurological and physiological reason for it. But what I will say to simplify it is this: from a bird's eye view, from a macro perspective, energetically, what's happening is we have a multitude of timelines. There are many versions of ourself living out different variations of different experiences, some of which can be connected to very traumatic, dark, dense timelines with lots of trauma connected and quantum entanglement with a lot of other souls that we are also in this life with, and we're working through it here to heal so that it heals this other aspect of ourself. There's a lot of quantum entanglement going on here. And so the healing is happening in a very wide spectrum. It's massive. It's bigger than we can even comprehend, on a level that we can't even comprehend what's happening right now. So they're targeting the consciousness, however they can to deactivate so that we aren't having these bleed throughs and we aren't connecting to these other versions of ourself, so that we can heal it. Instead, they want to fragment and keep us disconnected so that they can better control. Hopefully I'm making sense with this, but the more of us that are activating and leveling up, the more we can help heal the unhealed portions of ourself, stand in our light and our frequency, and then help others. Be, put the oxygen mask on ourselves so then we can help others. And that's what's occurring. But they are using every trick in the book right now. And one of the things that I've noticed is I've had several, well, at least 5 or 6 clients come to me through email, phone, text, calls, and they are convinced that negative, dark events are going to occur. I've been given dates, I've been given places, I've been given times, I've been given so many details. People contact me and say, please tell your audience, this is going to happen then, and they need to prepare and they need to do it. It's like, okay, at this point, do we prep and stay put, or do we run, or do we do this? Or I mean, there's so much conflict of what, do you take your money out of the banks? Do you keep your money? Do you get gold? Do you get XRP? I'm not commenting on any of that right now. I'm not even going to go there. But the point is, there is, again, a washing machine of thoughts and opinions. And this city is going to be in the next attack. And there's going to be a dark period for these weeks and this month. And everyone needs to get out of this particular city. Because this event's going to happen, and they're telling me exactly how it's going to be. Are any of these things true? Well, I'm not saying these people are crazy. I actually think a couple of things are happening. One, they are tuning into some sort of radio wave, like a signal that's going out that I think it's probably AI generated somehow. Some powerful supercomputer satellite may not even be coming from this planet that's beaming in, and whoever it could hook its consciousness, whatever consciousnesses it can hook into, that person is going to take that information and they're like, oh, I had a dream or I had a prophecy of this is going to happen. And they believe it in their core being because they can feel it, they can see it, they can sense it. Well, yeah, because they're tuning into the beaming, whatever is being beamed at them, telling them that this event is going to occur. And they believe it. So are they wrong? Well, no, they're not wrong because they are actually perceiving what is being transmitted. But is it real? Is it a possibility? And I will tell you that it is a possibility when more and more people believe it and they activate it in their consciousness and they create it because you're thinking about it and you're telling all your friends about it and you are visualizing it and you are sleeping and dreaming about it and prepping for it. That is how we co-create destruction that they want, because they implant the suggestion in our mind, and whoever, they don't even care who gets it. They're like, whatever, I'll just throw a bunch of knives at the wall and see what sticks. And the ones that stick, they hope that those knives affect everybody else and make the other people believe it. Terrible metaphor I just gave, but I think you get the point. The other aspect is that the person is tuning into another timeline where that is a potential in that timeline. But we have a lot of non-dominant timelines, like thought potential timelines, so to speak, where there isn't a lot of energy connected to it. But if enough people put their energy towards it, it can be created. And then it can pull people into that timeline. So that's another version of the other one. They're different, but very similar. So what I've recommended to those people is I need you to do me a favor and close your eyes and just stop thinking about that for 2 full weeks. I don't even want you to entertain it. And I want you to go outside and I want you to meditate and I want you to ground and I want you to do, various things to center yourself and go within, expand your field, a lot of other things, but basically disconnect from that resonance. Bring yourself to a higher frequency. Be with your animals. Watch things that make you laugh. Disconnect from social media for a few weeks. Disconnect from watching doom and gloom. Get off your Telegram. I deleted Telegram like 2 years ago. I don't even go on it anymore. And focus on creating something better, something that is of the highest good of yourself and the community that you're in and the world at large. And only focus on that for a couple of weeks and just disconnect from that completely. And that's how we derail their agenda of trying to hijack our consciousness, because that's what this is about. It's hijacking our consciousness because we are light beings and we can create, they cannot. So they distort our reality, they disrupt our brain patterns and cut us off from our higher self tune us in. So once they cut off our source connection, they tune us into the vibrations and bombardment in every direction, every facet, television, movies, satellites, EMFs, environmental stimuli, and 100 other things. And so when you're bombarded by repetition, remember, it's all about repetition. Every single second of every single day, constant bombardment here, and everywhere. That's how they hijack the mind. And then we have the hive mind that they want, which is essentially meaning we are no longer thinking for ourselves. We are thinking for them. We are creating for them. So you have to be like, all have to have a level of empowerment. You got to stand like a warrior. You got to say, be like a Taurus stubborn bull. I think that I was born a Taurus for a reason because I'm the most stubborn person I've ever met. And I take pride in that sometimes, because most of the time, because I know that I'm being stubborn because I cannot be bought. I cannot be tempted by ego. I don't care about any of that stuff. And I'm super stubborn. No one can control, my husband can't control me. No one has ever been able to control me in my life. I'm way too stubborn for that. So I encourage people to bring that bull out, call on the spirit of the bull elephant. Or really, I connect more with the matriarch elephant, very powerful, very vibrant, but pull on the energy of the divine masculine and the divine feminine to put yourself in a place of empowerment. So I'm highly recommending right now you reevaluate who is in your life. I don't care if the person is the one you sleep next to every night, the person you feel like you trust the most. Just take a moment to just check, just double check, just make sure and check in constantly because sometimes it can be the person closest to you and you don't even realize it. Again, I'm not trying to be scary. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but this is this is a serious conversation that needs to happen because I'm watching too many people fall for it, and it's disconcerting to me. And I've been fooled many times, but I've learned so many times the hard way that at this point I'm just so annoyed that I'm just like, yeah, fuck off. It's not going to work on me. And now I'm starting to get annoyed, but annoyed not in a lowering my frequency type of way, but I'm just like, all right, enough is enough. Like, I'm done playing games. And I want everybody watching this to really like find the power within themselves, fuel the fire within you, like fuel that annoyance and frustration like I have and amplify it into creating something like, but make yourself massive, make yourself powerful. So you aren't going, because when you do that, you will see through the illusion and you won't buy into the BS. And I'm going to say something that's going to, one more thing. It's going to, might hit people the wrong way. Take it or leave it. But it's something I'm recommending right now. Not forever, just right now. I strongly encourage anyone and everyone to not participate in activations, mass meditations, opening of portals of any kind. It's really not advisable right now for us to bring our energy together, especially with large groups where you don't know everybody that's there. You don't know the intentions of everyone's there. And it's just not possible to know anyways. I don't participate in mass meditations. I don't participate in mass activations. I don't participate in anything like that. Nobody should be, humans shouldn't open portals. And my very dear friend, Laura, I'm going to credit her for saying that because she's right. I've never opened a portal in my life. The only time I've ever opened up a portal of energy is inadvertently in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing. And I actually had a dear mentor say, Sherri, you're opening portals. You don't even realize it. You get your shit together. Like, because I was doing these healings and stuff and I didn't even realize what I was doing. I wasn't trained, right? So sometimes we'll open up little, really more, not even portals, like vortexes of energy to put, if you're working on a client and you clear them, you want to put a little bit of, you got to, maybe you don't have the capacity to transmute everything in that moment. And maybe you just don't know how to or don't want to. You can create little vortexes of energy. You throw the energy in there, but you got to close it up. And if you don't know how to do that and you don't know what you're doing, I don't even advise that you do that. There are other ways that you can do that. And you can call on the animal kingdom. You can call on the earth spirits, the elementals, and you can call on energy to help, positive energy to help you. But it's not advisable collectively for us to go and activate sites and portals when we don't really know what we're doing. And we can't just blindly trust energies and beings around us because we just don't know the authenticity. And so I encourage you, again, I'm going to quote my friend Laura, throw salt, pour salt on the people. Everybody in your life, I encourage you to visualize salt being poured over those people and see what they look like to you energetically. Because anybody can put on a facade and do their hair nice and put their makeup on and wear nice clothes, look professional, male or female. But that's just the facade you're giving off. That's just the physicality. What you want to know is what's behind that. Visualize them in salt. Visualize them going through this just waterfall of salt and close your eyes. Again, try not to use actual eyes. I like to use my third eye, but you can do whatever you want. Honestly, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I like to close my eyes and then just see. What do I see? What do I sense? What do I feel? What do I know? All of the things. What am I hearing? Pay attention to all of your senses. Your body is your biggest meter. If you feel butterflies or off put or your heart starts palpitating, trust that. Doesn't mean they're a bad person, but they've got bad energy right now and you don't need to be around it. You don't need to, don't blindly trust them. Maybe you should take a step back. Maybe you shouldn't listen to them for a while. That's why I don't do a lot of videos because I don't always feel the need to say something. I'm the type of person where I don't talk about some. I'm not a type of person that will just talk just to talk. If I have something to say, I'm going to say it, and I'm happy talking for a long time about something I'm passionate about. But you'll never catch me in a conversation just trying to blurt in just because I want to hear my voice. So I don't do a lot of videos on my channel. I don't do a lot of updates because if I don't have anything to update, I'm not going to make it up. I'm not going to, not going to invent something or search for it because then I'm just putting myself in a position where I'm now asking for information. And when you ask for information, you are more vulnerable to getting false information, but because you don't realize you're inadvertently feeding your ego so that you can continue to have people follow you. Because there are a lot of people that want others to believe that they're the Messiah or they're giving you the information because they are the only ones that can get it for you. And that's just not true. Every single person in the entire world has the capacity and the potential, if they are a real soul, and there's a vessel, there's a soul inside the vessel. There's a light. I'm talking about those beings, not the NPCs, not the hijacked ones. Everyone has the capacity to tune in and get their information for themselves. Nobody has to wait for that video to come out to get the updates on what's going on, or your neighbor next door to come over and tell you all the tea. Tell me the tea, spill it. We don't need anybody to spill tea for us. We can do it ourselves. And the more people rely on the tea from others, the less likely you're going to activate your inner knowing that you have the capacity to get the information for yourself. You don't need anybody else. Trust yourself. Now, it is nice to get validation when you hear others say the same thing you're already thinking. That's wonderful. That's great. But not enough people are searching within. They want to know who their guides are, their galactic family. That's also wonderful. Great. I mean, I do that in my readings, but I've been getting repeatedly throughout my readings that the most important thing is that you know who you are and your soul wants to communicate with you and your higher self is trying to get in. We want to invite in everybody else, but our higher self is there too. Hello, I want to talk to you. I'm trying to get messages through. So don't forget about yourself. Don't discount yourself and your capacity and your ability to get everything that you need. Trust yourself. And the only way we trust ourselves is by tuning everyone else out once in a while and being comfortable being alone and turning off the uh, interviews and the updates and the activations and the tarot readings and the this and the that and the this and a million other things. If we don't take the time to develop it for ourselves, then we will lack the discernment. And right now, discernment is key. So I want everyone to be careful who they trust and exercise that muscle on a daily basis. Just check in so you're not blindly trusting everybody. If they're already in your circle, the biggest mistake we can make is, well, they're already in my circle. So, it's like going to the airport. Once you get through security, you're like, oh, no one has a gun, so we're cool. No, there are many entrances and things at back doors. People can sneak things in. So you got to just be diligent. You got to be paying attention all the time because there's always a backdoor energetic entrance for sure. So we're not just dealing with our physicality, we're dealing with many other layers to it. So trust in yourself. That's what I'm saying. Trust in yourself, and I promise you, you will not let yourself down. If you truly invest the time in yourself and take the time every day through repetition in a positive way, you will be able to truly discern and develop that knowing and that inner uh, gauge. You'll have less anxiety and you will start to see through others much faster. Um, and trust me, other people are seeing through the same people in your community, the same family members, the same friend systems, the same networks. A lot of people are probably thinking the same thing, but it's not a contest, it's not a competition. Sometimes we just keep the information to ourselves so we're not creating a gossip stream either. Just that's how we to sum this all up and to bring it back up to a positive note. That this is how we combat, this is how we ascend, this is how we evolve, this is how we become better versions of ourselves, and this is how we create unity and bridges. They're trying to break down the bridges and separate and continue the division through their many facets, many avenues. But if we start from within and we become really strong, strong columns of light, where we have a very strong life force energy through. We cannot be manipulated. We cannot be programmed. We will see through all the illusion. We will not be controlled. And we have a grand network of that all over. Our light bright becomes so bright, so massive that the foundation just starts to crumble because it can't hold the weight of those solid concrete-like structures that are being built everywhere. And then the implants don't work anymore because nobody's seeing through the illusion of the implants. And so they serve no purpose. And they're creating their own karma. They'll have to deal with that. Focus on yourself in your own lane and amplifying yourself because I promise you, you will not be let down if you invest your time and energy into yourself. And if everybody does that, we can create those bridges of unity. And that's how we evolve. That's how we get through this. Because we do have, unfortunately, some time to go through some pretty rocky periods of time. And so the best way to navigate through these rocky periods of time that are coming is through trusting ourselves, going within, grounding as much as possible, and just being your own best advocate. Advocate for yourself and then advocate for those loved ones around you. But you got to build yourself up first. And the narratives will start to fall around you that are false. People who are in a false narrative that are trying to project something that is not correct, that is not of the highest good and highest intention of others, it will unravel on its own eventually all by itself. So just focus on you not paying any attention or fueling any energy towards it. Focus on yourself and your inner knowing, and it will reflect tenfold to what they're trying to do. And that's my best advice right now. So stay strong, stay connected, stay diligent, use discernment, and trust in yourself. Trust in yourself, because you're the most important person in your life. You really are. Love yourself, and then you can truly love everyone else in the way that they need, and to support them. So all of it's good though, honestly. Despite all the negative things I said today, I am for sure we are in a timeline of evolution, and we truly are going into this beautiful golden era of just abundance, prosperity, infinite potential. But it takes each one of us to believe it and to amplify that so that uh, we don't go in a tailspin into a different direction, which I don't even think is possible at this point. But they're going to try, right? Because that's what they do. So I hope this video has found you well today. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it if you feel like it could help someone else, and leave comments if you feel like you want to. Until next time, I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.